Many people walk around their whole lives empty, unhealed, or even just plain out insecure and lacking substance from within. But that's not the whole part. When this stuff is left unhealed and unaddressed for a long time, it becomes something that's a burden to someone else through disrespect and dishonor. Now, I want to talk about this topic that actually runs through the lens of pride, which is known as the superiority complex. A person with a superiority complex will probably need a Damascus Road experience to get them to treat people the way that they need to be treated. Okay? And so you want to pray for these individuals. Now, before I go any further, let's talk about what it is. The superiority complex is where a person takes something about him or herself, his or herself, and that one thing or more that person use to determine the value of another person and to exalt their own selves. And this is what I mean. Like a person that's dealing with materialism, that person will use clothes, assets, property, money, and everything to determine if a person is better than someone else based on what they have. Okay? Then racism. A person uses the skin color to determine if this person is somebody or not, if this person is an animal or not. That's what some people do. They use the skin color to determine, should I treat this person with dignity and respect? Or to determine if this person is beneath me based on the skin color. Then you have ageism. There are some younger people who feel like old people ain't nobody. Or you have the older people, which is something that I've dealt with at times, where an older person talks down to you when you are an adult, and if they want to get something accomplished, the only thing they got to do is talk to you with common sense the first time. But some of them, because they're older, they feel like they can order you around. You automatically have to obey them because they're older than you. And my only thing about this is when that entitlement comes in because of age. My whole thing is, when I was down at my lowest moments, could I call and ask you for money? Could I ask you for a place to stay when I had those moments in life where I needed help? So this is why I have the problem with ageism. My whole thing is one thing, and I'm not saying even if you did help me, that gives you the right to talk to me any type of way. But, you know, if you're not even scratching the surface with that to me is just all wrong, you know. So I think in all these matters, not think but know, you need to treat people the way you want to be treated, no matter what your age, your color, what you have, your social status. Some people feel like because they're connected to certain people, that makes them special. Okay? And then also education. Some people feel like because they're educated, they can talk down and look down their noses at other people as if they're the smartest person in the world. Okay? And even the Bible points out that there's people who are ever learning but are never coming to the knowledge of truth. That means these people, they can pick up books and read it, but because they're not living in accordance to the word of God, they're never coming to the knowledge of truth. Why? Because you got to be more than just the hearer of the word of God. You got to be a doer. So for you to come into the knowledge of truth, you can't just hear the word of God and not do the word of God. You got to practice applying the word of God. Okay? So I share these different dimensions of how pride influences materialism, racism, ageism, and discrepancies between education and social status, so that you can see how the superiority complex works through each of these concepts, these topics, these things that we know. Now, when a person releases the outcome of having this complex, the outcome of having these thoughts lodged in their heart, it comes out through bullying, because eventually pride wants to control. That's what you have to understand. Pride wants to control what's not theirs to control. So at times, people that are struggling with pride, they're looking for victims, and pride is not of God. Pride is inconsiderate. Pride carries entitlement. Okay? So with pride, a person is puffed up and they think they are so much more than who they truly are. And you see it in how they look down their nose at other people, how they treat other people, how they talk to other people. Okay? And so at times, bullying accommodates it. All right? Boasting at times. Maybe the boasting is not that obvious. They can also be doing one-upping. When you hear somebody share something good about themselves, or you share something good about yourself, and they're constantly trying to figure out how can they outshine you. You say, well, let's say if you, since I'm in pageantry, I'm gonna use this for an example. If I say, well, I won the state pageant, and the next person, well, I won 10 international pageants, and I became the director of it, and then they done took that whole conversation that was about you and made it about them. Okay? One-upping so that they can look good. Okay? Then another thing is condescending. So a person that deals with a pride complex, if they feel challenged or threatened by you, they might admire you at first to see how close they can get to you. And while they're doing that, and they do it through flattery too. They do it through flattery until they can see an opening, like an opportunity to try to bring you down. If they can see a flaw, or if they can see where they can catch you off guard, then this is where they get close to you so that they can try to knock you down a notch. And it's also to get comfortable mistreating you. So if they find that vulnerability, they might feel like they could start slipping in some slick comments, insecure statements, or just treating you any type of way that they would not want to be treated. Okay? If they are in a place of authority, they will abuse their position. Okay? And examples of them abusing their position, even if they're not in a role of authority, if they just think they're better than you, they'll do this anyway. But it's even worse when you have to answer to that person through your protocol at work or ministry or however. With yelling, no adult should be yelling at you. If you're not doing something dangerous, no adult should be yelling at you. If you're not doing something life-threatening, no adult should be yelling at you. If you have an issue and you want to talk about it with them, and because that issue that you want to talk about inconveniences them, and they won't even take the time to hear you out, to hear what the problem is on your end, that's called dismissiveness. And I've dealt with that one time with a supervisor. I dealt with someone putting an extra load on my plate. And when I had problems and I wanted to talk about it, that person would not even set aside a time to meet with me to talk about what this concern is. And so, even though you could be under pressure and you really just need somebody to take some time to talk to you, they won't even give you that grace of time. Okay. And then it's bad when you have to rely on certain people's judgment and they won't even listen to you. Okay. Now, also humiliation, because when these people have a spotlight and they are in a role of authority or have a spotlight, they will attempt to humiliate a person to make themselves look good. Sometimes they might even take that as an opportunity to get their lick back if you had to check them on their wrongdoing. Okay, so this is how they abuse their roles of authority. Now, entitlement. Okay, entitlement also comes with pride, because pride, remember, pride wants things that they did not properly earn or they feel entitled to because of these differences. It could be, like I said, a status, a social status. It can be, again, a race issue. It could be ageism, whatever it is. These people that are dealing with these things through the lens of pride, they expect to get special treatment or preferential treatment, even though it has not been earned. And they want you to treat them superior. They also want you to go over and beyond for them, even though they've given you bare minimum treatment. Okay. I've also dealt with something like that before too, where a person, very much like what I mentioned, where this person would not respect me by listening to my concerns, but that person had the audacity to expect me to do something outside of my job role to make this person happy. So this person did not want to listen to how I feel, did not respect my feelings, but had the audacity to expect me to do something beyond my normal job duties to satisfy, to make this person happy. Okay. And so again, this person was giving me bare minimum treatment, and I couldn't give this person exactly what was being asked of me. I couldn't. I had to respect myself, and y'all have to respect yourselves too. When somebody give you bare minimum treatment, but with a straight face, they expect you to go over and beyond for them, like they're so much more than you. After they've given you bare minimum treatment, this is how you hold those individuals accountable. Because a lot of times some people will treat you some type of way, and then they come back as if they've done nothing wrong, or they easily forget because their mind is so in the clouds. They're so lost in the sauce, but they forgot. They done ran over you. They done ran over you, and now they trying to get more use out you, more work out you, or more entitlement out you, or more of your energy. And this is where you have to let them know you're not going to do it, or you're not going to get what you want. You're not going to get exactly what you want, because I didn't get exactly what I wanted from you. Okay. And they don't like that. And if they're petty, they're going to retaliate. Okay. It's one thing if they decide, well, I ain't gonna ask you nothing no more. I ain't gonna bother with you no more. And some of them already know not to ask you for nothing else, but you always keep them at the back of your mind, not hold a grudge, but you know how they do. Because they might wait a long time and then come back and expect you to forget about how you wasted their time, how you took them for granted, how they took you for granted, only to come back and try to do that same thing to you again. So you got to have that boundary there of, I can't do it, I won't do it. Communicate to them, they're not going to get what they want. But if the person is super petty and they are emotionally immature, they are going to retaliate. And they might not even do it, how can I say it? They might not do it in plain sight. They're going to try to find subtle ways to retaliate. And more commonly, like on a job, they try to find extra work to shove on you and dress it up to be like a need when it's really payback. Okay. And again, people that deal with the superiority complex, they're only hinging their value on that one or more things that they're judging you off of, which does not make them any better than you. But because they're dealing with this inadequacy on the inside, because without that thing, they're holding over your head that they feel makes them better than you, they probably discover that they're void. They're void of substance. They're void of character. Okay? And so they mask it as confidence. They'll hurt a person, but they'll lie to others and themselves and tell themselves all day that ain't nothing wrong with them. They confident when they're operating in pride. And truth be told, it's actually an act of cowardice. You see, cowards will look for someone to put down, to take advantage of, to control. They will look for someone that they think will not put them in check. Cowards will go in on somebody that they feel they can get away with that stuff with. And that's what you have to understand about a lot of people dealing with that superiority complex. Okay. Now, again, the question becomes, how do you deal with these individuals? First of all, disengage with them. Disengage. If, as much as it be possible, do not argue with them. Okay. Proverbs 26:4 lets you know to not argue with a fool, lest you become like them. A person with a superiority complex, they already have it set in their mind that they're going to be stuck. They're going to be stuck in their own ways. So you don't try to sway that person. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible to plant a seed of righteousness with that person. With God, all things are possible. But what you do is say what you have to say and leave it alone. Pray for that person, okay? Then number 2, if that person wants to press, the contention won't go away, then you got to remove yourself from that person. The Bible also says, go away from the presence of a foolish person. Proverbs 14:7. Go away from the presence of a foolish person when you perceiveth them not to be in the lips of knowledge. So if they're not talking about something sensible, they're not trying to be reasonable, go away from them. Okay? And sometimes it upset these folks because they know they on the foolishness. They just want you to be wrapped up around them. Sometimes you offend these people when you're just like, I'm so over it with them. Okay? And so what you want to do, again, disengage and separate yourself from that person. And if it's like one of those situations, like if this person is on your job and you have to deal with them, then you want to lift this person up in prayer to God and ask God for a particular strategy. The strategy might be silent for right now. That strategy might be, you need to tell this person this. Okay. But at the end of the day, ask God to walk in you concerning your individual circumstance with this person with the superiority complex. I do not advise trying to convince this person that they are full of pride, because a prideful person don't want to be told that they're wrong. They will try to contend with you and they will function with self-righteousness. And this is why you got to pray concerning that person. And as long as some way, somehow they allow God to work on them, then you may have more leverage to be able to get through to them as God leads you. But in the meantime, don't try to go head to head with that person alone. Do all things with prayer. If this message has encouraged you, hit the subscribe button and God bless you.